You got your little way of hurting me. You know just how to tear me up. Leave me in small pieces on the ground. You got your little way of hurting me, then I do it real tough. One cold look from you knock me down.
TNN Motorsports proudly presents live exclusive coverage of the Hardee's Frisco 250 from Richmond, Virginia International Raceway. Mother Nature has not been kind. You see that low overcast hanging over the speedway. It's only 41 degrees here. The humidity is high, and yesterday it snowed all day, canceling most of the track's activities. Today, though, a little delayed, but we are set to go racing. Hi, everybody. I'm Mike Joy. The weather here has been messy. It washed out qualifying for the Busch cars and all but their very first practice session yesterday morning. So they will line this race up based on point standing positions from this year for the top 25, and then cars that won races last year, and then by entry blank postmarks. That's the NASCAR procedure. But more importantly, Professor Buddy Baker, you've had hardly any practice. You didn't get to qualify. How do you set your race car up for a day like today?
Well, Mike, everybody, thing you have to do is really dial the chassis in to make it a little more secure than you might if you had a lot of practice on the racetrack. That making the car real tight coming out of the corner where you don't get the back end hanging out. Really doing a chassis work in the pits now and adjust as the race goes on.
So you have to start with something that's moderate so you can go either way?
That's it. You must start really too tight because nobody really knows what the racetrack's going to do once it gets some rubber in it.
Well, one fella has a pretty good idea, and he'll join us shortly. That's Darrell Waltrip, who is out qualifying his Winston Cup car. Darrell just made his run, and he will join us shortly. So let's go down to the starting grid, as they have not even formed it up. It's behind pit wall as Winston Cup qualifying finishes up. Let's check on Glenn Jarrett.
Well, thanks, Mike. Guess what? It's not 80 degrees. Send me back to Tucson, man, please. It's cold out here. The concern down on pit road, of course, is practice time or lack of it. Canvassed most of the field. Some of the guys got 6, 8, 10 laps. Some as many as 15 or 20. A few got some got as few as 3. But there's one guy, Randy Porter, who was with us most of last year in the Busch Series, got no practice at all. In fact, he has not run a lap of any kind in any race car since September. Randy, what in the world? How in the world did you get here, man?
I tell you, it's kind of an odd deal, Glenn. Lots of times you lose sight of your entry forms because of the hustle and bustle of the Busch Series and trying to get in the car ready. But my wife, we got our entry form in. We came, filled it right out, and Federal expressed it the next day. So that's the only thing that got us in.
Well, your wife, Cindy, got you here. I'm sure you rewarded her some way. The team had to pay her back.
Oh, yeah, we all took her out for dinner last night, and we paid. She didn't have to pay.
A lot of concern, no practice. You hadn't been in the car for a while. You got to be careful early on.
Yeah, there's been a lot of talk of the tires being a little harder and the temperatures and getting good temperature in the tires before we start. So I think everybody's going to be real careful and get off to a good, clean race.
Okay, best of luck to you, Randy. He's a short track ace. He'll be okay. Now let's go down to Randy Pemberton.
Well, as Winston Cup qualifying continues, Johnny Benson Jr. getting ready to climb aboard his lifting machine. Johnny, in the drivers' meeting, Morgan Shepherd and Mark Martin were adamant about the fact of how careful you guys need to be at the start of this race because of the temperature. How will you heed that advice?
Well, I'll tell you, you're going to have to use it 100%, you know. We're starting on the outside row. We don't have anybody to cushion up against. Hopefully the inside guys are going to take it easy. You know, the race is 250 laps long. I mean, hopefully everybody just goes nice and smooth and, you know, just start off a little slow. It's going to be a little slow at the start, but you're going to see a good race once we get things going.
Okay, good luck, Johnny. One other thing, 2 tires per position on all 4 corners of the race car here this afternoon. Under caution, they get to run as many tires as they want other than that. And once again, pit road will be a place that you have to watch it with these new tires because it could be a little treacherous on pit road. 45 miles an hour is the speed limit today. Now let's go upstairs to Mike Joy. Mike?
Thanks, Randy. And you see how damp it is exiting the pit there as Kenny Wallace goes out to qualify his TIC Financial Winston Cup car. There's only 7 cars left to qualify, and then we'll get right with the start of the Hardee's Frisco 250. For the moment, Jeff Gordon is the fastest qualifier for the Winston Cup race. Bobby Hamilton and Richard Petty's car is second fastest. Rusty Wallace third. Last year's pole sitter Ted Musgrave is currently fourth, and Derek Coates is fifth fastest so far as Kenny Wallace goes on the watch for his first of 2 qualifying laps. So as qualifying finishes up, let's take a break from Richmond International Raceway. Just kind of settle in, make sure your belts are tight, make sure your hat's on straight. Let's get ready to go racing at Richmond.
Exclusive coverage of the Hardee's Frisco 250 on TNN is brought to you by Avalon Formula 3 Motor Oil. Add more life to your car. By the more than 1,000 AutoZone stores across America. AutoZone, the best parts in auto parts. And by Midas Brakes, the Midas way, the way it should be.
Winston Cup qualifying just finishing up here at Richmond. Jeff Gordon on the pole of note. Steve Grissom, Steve Kinzer, Michael Waltrip bumped out of the top 34. That will start the race through time trials. They'll also take 4 provisionals. Buddy, the longest day in the history of Richmond International Raceway was the Grand National Race in 1964. It started on Sunday, was interrupted by rain, and finally concluded Tuesday evening. 54 hours later, David Pearson was the winner.
I don't think we have to worry about that. I think the weather's going to hold today. The biggest thing everybody's got in their mind is it's just like if you go to a baseball game and you get a great pitcher out of the bullpen and say, start pitching without warming up. That's the real problem today, and that's what everybody has to be concerned.
Right. There was no practice this morning. Took quite a while to dry the track. There were still snow flurries early this morning here in Richmond. That's kind of a rarity, but there was no accumulation. It was just very damp and very wet. But it didn't rain on the parade of Chad Little. He has won the first 2 races this season. Nobody's ever won the first 3 races in a row. And Glenn Jarrett talked with Chad a little earlier.
Well, and we told you a while ago about the guys that didn't have any practice. Chad Little was one of those people that came up and tested a few weeks ago when he had the open test session. Should be in pretty good shape. But, Chad, how much time did you get on the racetrack yesterday?
None.
None at all? Why?
Well, you know, it was snowing, and we were ready to go out, and then we thought, okay, we should go out, and then it's snowing too hard, so then we waited some more, and then it was too late. It was snowing too hard. So luckily we tested, and I know there wasn't too many cars that did that. We got the same setup as we tested in the car, and we're just going to have to hope for the best because I have 0 laps right now.
Well, you know that you've been on quite a roll. Of course, everybody knows that. You've got to feel good about things. You said the test session was good, but can you make it 3 in a row today?
Let's just say that we got a good race car, and we're going to hopefully have some good pit stops and run up front and do the best we can.
Okay, he's already told me that everybody's going to be careful the first few laps. Let's go to Randy Pemberton.
Well, thanks, Glenn. Jeff Fuller is here, and he's run some modified races on this track. Jeff, can you bring anything from running a modified car here to today in this cold weather, being in a Busch car for the first time?
The cold weather reminds me of being up in Massachusetts, but as far as the track itself, they've changed coming out of 4 there. The pit wall used to be like a lot further out towards the track, and you used to have to be real close to get a good lap in. But now that they've got pit wall back, the first and second turns seem to be similar, but it's been a while. I think it's been like 3 years since we've been here, so we do have experience here, but they have changed a little bit.
Okay, good luck today. Now let's go down the pit road to Larry McReynolds. Larry?
I'm telling you, I'm sure last night if you walked through Richmond, through the different hotels and couldn't find none of the Busch Grand National crew chiefs, they was probably in their rooms really digging through notes from past races here, trying to search for that setup, considering the weather and considering no practice at all today. I'm sure some other people that are real nervous is the engine guys. Obviously, engines need some temperature before they're ready to really get up to speed. So hopefully NASCAR will give these guys plenty of time to get some oil temperature, and the engine guys will be rested easy then. Thanks.
Winston Cup qualifying is just about completed. Joe Nemechek and Loy Allen are yet to post times, and there's your current pole sitter. As of right now, Jeff Gordon.
Of the Hardee's Frisco 250 on TNN is brought to you by Napa. We keep America running.
Taking the white flag is Loy Allen in the Hooters T-Bird. He's the final Winston Cup driver to qualify. If you joined us late, preparations for today's Hardee's Frisco 250 delayed just a bit by the weather. It took them a long time to dry this racetrack because the humidity is 93%. That means even if you run a lot of vehicles out there on the racetrack and it throws the water up in the air, it won't hang. You know, those droplets just will not evaporate and come right back down on the racetrack. They had to do a lot of work with the jet dryer, and there are still some damp areas here, particularly the entrance and the exit to pit road. But now that Loy Allen's run is complete and the field is set for tomorrow's Winston Cup race, they'll line up the Busch cars quickly and we'll be ready to go. Jeff Gordon is going to be the Busch pole winner for tomorrow's Winston Cup event here at Richmond. And briefly, Bobby Hamilton will start on the outside pole. Rusty Wallace and Ted Musgrave, Derek Cope and Kenny Schrader, Dick Trickle and Sterling Marlin, Mark Martin, and Darrell Waltrip. We'll double-check that. Mark Martin is 9th, and hopefully we'll have a full rundown for you later on in the day. There you see the Busch cars getting set and ready to go here. Let's check with Glenn.
Well, thanks, Mike. We've talked about all these guys that haven't had any practice, haven't been on the racetrack. Let's talk to a guy that has. Mike Wallace, you were out in your Winston Cup car. What's the racetrack like?
Well, I think the racetrack's going to be fine, Glenn. You know, it was really wet this morning. Of course, we dealt with snow and everything else, snow and rain. And once the Winston Cup cars got it dried off, I think if we can get 5 good laps of racing in here to start the Busch race, we're going to have a good, safe race from there on. The tires are a little slick because they're wet, but you know, this Duron Paints car is going to run awful well, and I'd like to welcome on board a new sponsor of ours, Klausner Furniture Industries, and hope to take it to the front and win one here today.
Keep our eye on him. The one thing that they have to be careful about, guys, as always, when it rains is pit road. Pit road is still wet. Best of luck to you, Mike.
Mike Wallace ready to go. The 10th driver in qualifying was Lake Speed rather than Darrell Waltrip, who is down the list, and we'll hope to get those for you a little bit later on. As you can see, Mike buckling in and everybody's strapping in and getting ready to go here. We're just moments away from the start. Last week on the telecast, we attempted to do our 8 great reasons why Sterling Marlin's car sounded that way, and unfortunately we only got 4 of them on, which we took a little bit of ribbing for. We can give you the other 4 reasons, those few of you people who still care, why Sterling's car sounded that way. Ron Pittman, of course, wouldn't tell anybody what we were up to there, but we have the rest of that and a retort that comes out of the city of Charlotte from the John Boy and Billy Radio Network on WRFX and in 15 states throughout the Southeast that is heard by just about every Winston Cup shop throughout the Charlotte area. So here are the rest of the 8 reasons Sterling's car sounds that way. Number 8, testing their deer whistles for Pocono. Number 7, a guy named Cuckoo set the timing. Number 6, race cards in the wheel spokes like you used to do with your bicycle. And the number 5 reason, that's what you get when a guy named Runt builds your engine. Now, we did attribute reason number 4 and only reason 4 to John Boy and Billy, but they were afraid they were responsible for the whole thing. So just to show you that we can take a joke as well as give one, as heard Monday on the John Boy and Billy Radio Show, well, here's this week's list.
I don't think they've got this top 10 thing down.
Here, Mike, let me show you how it's done, okay?
Okay, yeah, we're a little rebuttal to Mike Joy.
Here they are, Mike Joy's top 10 pet peeves. Number 10, Benny Parsons asking, are you going to eat the rest of that? Number 9, fending off the drunken advances of Bill Broderick, the Hat Man. Number 8, the way Dr. Jerry Punch always sticks you with the bar tab. Number 7, wise guys who call you the artist formerly known as Mike Joy with the knee. Number 6, having to give up your parking space when Jeff Gordon's wife Brooke shows up for a race. Number 5, carpooling with Jimmy Spencer. Number 4, John Boy always hitting you up for pit passes. Number 3, 2 words, Elliot's breath. Number 2, next week's guest commentator, the Hey Vern guy. And the number 1 peeve of Mike Joy, not enough wrecks, man.
All right, they got us. We heard about it. Now you've heard it all. And well, that's the way it goes.
Let me tell you, I listen to these guys all the time. They are really radical and funny, and we can take a joke too, guys.
So that's this week's 8 exciting reasons plus 2, thanks to John Boy and Billy. Well, with that, We'll be back with the start of the Hardee's Frisco 250 right after these messages. Stay with us. But they're going to see some hot racing here in just a minute.
I guarantee you, there's a lot of uncharted waters these guys are fixing to get into here. But, you know, a long time ago that'd be a problem. Most of these guys have raced here several times now, and they have experience like you wouldn't believe, and they have good people working on the cars. So this is not a big deal. The biggest deal right now is, like he said, getting the engines warm enough and all.
That's it, buddy. And because of the cold, they're going to allow them a few extra pace laps here under caution that will not count to get everything warmed up. So while they get warmed up, we'll be right back. Where they are taking extra pace laps to make sure everything is warmed up and ready to roll here on a very cold day for racing. I feel like I'm in Thompson, Connecticut or somewhere for the icebreaker.
Nevertheless, we are racing. That's the main thing.
That's it. Thank goodness we're not sitting here shoveling snow. Brett Bodine was ready to send for his snowmobiles and have them brought down here if yesterday kept up like it was. Here's the way they'll roll off today, based mainly on point standings. Chad Little, winner at Daytona and Rockingham. Terry Labonte, second in points. In row 2, Mark Martin, 3-time winner here at Richmond in the Busch Series. And Johnny Benson, who was 4th last week. In row number 3, Jeff Green with 2 top 10s in the first 2 races. And Jim Bound, who was 6th at Daytona. Rodney Combs is 8th in the points. And Mike Wallace makes his 5th Busch start here. Row number 5, Joe Bessie has 2 top 10s here. Tracy Leslie, 2nd here in 93. Then you'll see Phil Parsons and Jeff Fuller, who's leading in the rookie points. Row 7, David Green, the 94 champion, and Jason Keller, who started on the pole last September here. Larry Pearson, runner-up here in 88, and Doug Hevron, the modified ace from New York. Row number 9, Mike McLaughlin makes his 4th Busch start here. And Curtis Markham ran a Busch race here in 1983. This year, though, he's a rookie candidate. Hermie Sadler was 3rd here 2 years ago, and Bobby Dotter was 6th in 93 here. Kenny Wallace won here last September. Patty Moise makes her 6th Busch start on this track. Morgan Shepherd won a pair of Busch races here in 83. Dennis Setzer won 2 last season. In row 13, Tim Fedowa, 9th here a year ago, and Tommy Houston, who won here in 1982. Then Dale Earnhardt's former crew chief, Kirk Shelmerdine, and Elton Sawyer, who was 4th in this race 1 year ago. Row 15, Stevie Reeves and Bobby Hillen. John Tanner, the road racer, and Greg Clark from New York State. Row 17, Steve Boley from Iowa, and Dirk Stevens, who was real strong here last year. Randy Porter makes his first start, as Glenn told you, and AJ's son, Jerry Foyt, making his 2nd Busch start. Finally, you'll have Kevin LePage, the sophomore from Vermont, and rookie L.W. Miller. Buckshot Jones, Joe McCarthy, IMSA Saab champ Jerry Nadeau, John Preston, Robbie Reiser, Shauna Robinson, and from the West Coast, the Southwest Tour, Dale Williams did not make the field. They took the top 25 on point standings, then last year's winning cars not yet in the field, and then went by entry blank postmarks to set the starting lineup as per the NASCAR rulebook.
Well, Mike, they're showing 1 lap to go before the green flag, and Darrell's on his way over here in driver's suit, from what I hear.
just barely got out of the car after qualifying, had a word with Pete Peterson and the rest of his crew, and here he came. Here is your AutoZone race analysis, brought to you by the over 1,000 AutoZone stores. 38 cars will start today's race over the 250-lap distance. 98.5 miles an hour is the race record set by Mark Martin. And the qualifying record here was set by Jason Keller last fall, 121.9 miles an hour. One of 3 Busch poles that he won. For the start and the first of 250 laps, Pontiac pace car is in. Chad Little trying to become the first ever to win the first 3 races of the season in a row, and he has the lead going off into turn 1. Terry Labonte right with him. Mark Martin down on the inside, which looks from the backstretch. And Johnny Benson trying to get in line ahead of Jeff Green. Just sneaks in there. Well, big spin on the back straightaway. Steve Boley in the 0-5. He gets it cranked, and we stay green. Nope, he's not moving. Boley's car down to the inside. Chad Little leads them around. We're going to hold under green as Boldy does get fired and pulls away.
We have a race for second place there. You can see that Mark Martin moving into second. He passed Terry Labonte going down into turn one. Well, I'll tell you what, that's kind of a familiar thing to see Mark Martin going towards the front.
This looks like last week all over again. Chad Little, Mark Martin, Terry Labonte, Johnny Benson. There is a bit of smoke from the rear of Tracy Leslie's car. Getting kind of profuse as he goes off into turn one. He's the 8th place machine. There it is. Detroit Gasket MGM brakes entry. Let's check with Glenn.
Guys, right before the race started, all the talks between the crew chiefs and the spotters and the drivers right before the race started was work the car back and forth, get some heat in the tires. I have a feeling Steve Boldy, a rookie here, he has never made a lap on this racetrack. Probably didn't have enough heat built up in those tires. Inexperience can really get you to a place like this.
Thanks, Glenn. He is up and rolling again. Tracy Leslie's car now drops down to the inside. Jason Keller going past.
You can see him doing the hand signal. That means he's coming in the pits. He's moved in, starting down pit road right now. Tracy Leslie was in a lot of trouble there. We have a pass now for the lead. Here comes Mark Martin up under Chad Little. We didn't see this last week. Nobody got close enough to pass him.
Mark Martin has the line into turn number 3, but Little is hanging tough on the outside. That's where you want to be coming off this corner.
Well, Terry Labonte's sitting there in 3rd place. Now, what he needs to do is follow the faster of the two. He'll kind of sit there and let them sort this thing out between each other.
Yeah, but which is the faster of the two?
Well, Chad Little's getting a better bite up off the corner. Looks like Mark's getting in a little bit better.
They take that battle back to turn number 3. Labonte up on the outside. Mark Martin digging hard down on the yellow line. And Little continues to lead. He thoroughly dominated Rockingham. Made a last green lap move to win the Goodies 300 at Daytona.
Woo-hoo. Johnny Benson there in 4th place in the 74 car was sideways coming up out of the corner. He's very lucky to wheel that thing back into contention there.
Going to lap past L.W. Miller in the UniFirst number 18. That's the Sammy Kershaw Todd Bodine car, and also Jerry Foyt getting lapped early. Kirk Shelmerdine, the Big Johnson number 25.
Right front. Messed up on now. Oh, he got in the wall. You can see the whole right side's kind of sandblasted down there.
It's now Flat Johnson on the right side.
We're not laughing at him, folks. It's just a comment there.
Well, the lead battle's gone back single file. I'll show you what happened to Kirk Shelmerdine. Back straightaway. There he is, right side of your screen.
Mike, it's so easy to get in trouble coming off turn 2 over there. The race car actually runs right at the wall, and you have to really turn the car. If you get a little bit too wide, that's what happens.
Right side tires go on. Sheet metal narrowed up a bit.
I would say that car is not going to drive very well from here on out.
Back up front, Chad Little, the Bayer Aspirin number 23. The Winn-Dixie number 60 of Mark Martin. There's the MW windows, the white car number 14, Terry Labonte.
We now have DW present here. He's putting his headset on. I'm sure he can give us a little bit about what the racetrack's like. You just got through that first lap on qualifying. You guys look like you was on ice.
Well, that's the whole thing. Just you couldn't get any traction. The tires are cold. The track's, cold, and it takes 3 or 4 laps to really get heat built in the tires. First lap, you feel like you got 4 flat tires. Second lap, feel like you got 2 flat tires. Probably by the time you got 3 or 4 in there, it'd feel okay.
Well, let's check with Randy Pemberton.
Well, to update you on Tracy Leslie's problems, after starting 10th, I saw him go into turn 1, a big puff of fire from under the car. They claim they have too much oil in the tank, too much in the car, but I speculate it could possibly be an oil leak. It's still leaking just a little bit. No complaints from other drivers, but I think 4 laps down is Tracy Leslie now.
Lead change, Mark Martin.
Mark Martin made that look pretty easy just then. I don't think Chad's got the handle over everybody like he had in Rockingham. He's not getting in the corner quite as well as Mark Martin. Mark is very patient. He waited on him to start running a wider line and then just swept right by.
Well, as good as Mark's car has been, over the last year or so, I can't believe that he could continue to get beat like that.
Look at Jeff Green coming up here. He's now in 3rd place in the famous number 3 there. He just went by Terry Labonte like he was stopped.
2 Fords have taken out a bit of a lead over the 2 Chevrolets. A bit of irony. The Fords have won all the Busch races. The Chevrolets have won all the Cup races.
Yeah. Well, it's a little bit different race car in the Busch Series because it's a 105-inch wheelbase. You know, and maybe the boys in this series, they're not maybe as quick to pick up on the aero things that they are in the Cup Series.
Well, Terry Labonte's reporting right now that his car is too tight, and that's what we talked about before we went on the air. A lot of these guys really put a real safe suspension under these cars, and then they'll take a bite out as they make pit stops.
Well, the cars are new. You know, the Fords are or the Chevrolets are particularly, and you're just kind of guessing on setup for this racetrack because you didn't get any practice.
Battle here is for 15th position. It's led by Rodney Combs in the 43, and he's got a snarling pack with him. Down to the inside is Doug Hevron, the Cincinnati Millicron, number 35, and Elton Sawyer, the Ford Credit Ford, number 38.
Well, Tracy Leslie's car is really, really smoking badly. It's not hurting the performance of the car, but he's got a bad oil leak of some sort.
Apparently the pit stop for 4 laps did not cure the problem.
Elton Sawyer looks like he's got a really nice car for here. He's past this line of traffic. You see him getting in the corner there, about 2 car lengths better than anybody else.
Sawyer's number 38.
Well, they're having a heck of a race right in there where Sawyer is. I can tell you that. There's about 10 or 12 of them right there just going at it.
He moves up to 16th position. There you see Rodney Combs still caught on the outside with the number 43 and unable to get that car down to the bottom and move up.
Well, we're just about to see some 3-wide racing going down into turn 1. I can promise you there's not room for 3 cars in the corner here, so somebody's got to back out when they get down at the end of the straightaway.
But what happened, buddy, is when we started practice here, the track was wet, but it dried out up near the top, and that's where everybody ran for a while. So guys are trying to figure out if it's safe to get back down on the bottom or not, I think.
Bobby Dotter moves past the World Championship Wrestling number 43, and still Combs caught on the outside. Up at the head of that pack, there's number 59, Dennis Setzer, the Black Alliance Tractor Trailer Training Center's Chevrolet.
Boy, he's had a terrible year so far. He's run so well. He looked like he could win either race that he's been in up till now, and had just awful trouble right near the end of the race. Setzer will win a race before long, though.
I'd say from my experience of watching Mark Martin that these guys are in trouble today because he's got that gap. You ever notice how he gets that 10, 15 car length gap between him and the guy running second, and he just seems to be able to hold that? I got a good idea. He could probably go on if he wanted to.
Here's Curtis Markham on the inside. The Lysol number 63, the Hensley car. Moving underneath Doug Hevron. Markham holds the record here for late model stock cars at Richmond. Knows the track well. Ran a Busch race here 12 years ago.
He's one of those kind of drivers that people keep waiting for him to step up and really make some noise. He's had a couple opportunities in Cup to run, and just hasn't been able to take advantage of it. I'm sure he's a talented guy, just hasn't had the right opportunity yet.
Now Bobby Hill and Bobby Dotter, Morgan Shepherd, the 21, making that move fast. Well, these first 25 laps, everybody just seemingly not feeling each other out so much as feeling their own cars out and seeing what they'll do.
I've been really impressed with Joe Bessie this year. He has run so consistent, and you can see no sponsor, no anything, but he's right up there racing with some well-sponsored race cars.
Now, there's a guy that we've seen at times show just brilliance, but always runs into trouble somewhere. I think he's a very talented driver.
I think you're right. Let's have a look at the race for second place. Jeff Green has caught that yellow car, Chad Little, on the right side of your screen.
And the 74 car mentioned there is past Terry Labonte, too. So a couple of little changes near the front here.
This has got to be something really special for Jeff Green. He hadn't had a real great start in this 3 car. And, of course, the fans are used to seeing this car up near the front. And it's just proven that Jeff has the qualities that Dale was looking for when he put him in this car.
I don't know, buddy. You say he's got 2 top 10s in 2 races, so he comes in here 6th in points. I think he's off to a decent start, but you're right. You're used to seeing that car up front, and I think it'll be there for long.
Well, I think he's just using very, very good judgment. He didn't want to get in that car and crash it right off, and people say, "Whoa, Dale, you made a bad mistake." He's just being real conservative, and like you said, he's running 3rd right now, and that car looks strong today.
Well, he hired Hornaday, and he asked Hornaday why he didn't win the first truck race that he run in out there. And he said, well, on the last lap, I didn't want to tear fenders up. And he said, I'm going to hire you, and don't you ever worry about a fender.
I was talking to Richard Childress earlier today, and he said, listen to Earnhardt tell Jeff Green how to drive a race car was a real exciting thing to do, too.
We're 27 laps into the 250 here at Richmond. Mark Martin leading Chad Little, Jeff Green, Johnny Benson, and Terry Labonte.
Today's exclusive coverage of the Hardee's Frisco 250 on TNN is brought to you by Split Fire, the patented performance spark plug. It only costs more till you use it.
There's the aftermath of Hermie Sadler's spin. John Tanner spun in turn 4 and squeezed Sadler up into the wall. Hermie was running in 9th position. Tanner was a lapped car. And coming out of turn number 2, Curtis Markham and Morgan Shepherd got together going into the back straightaway just as we went to break. So it's happening fast and furious here with just 30 laps into the event. Darrell, after running up from qualifying, glad you could get here, man.
Well, everything's out of kilter today. You know, the schedule's all messed up. But I have to give Gary Nelson, all these guys, a big pat on the back, because earlier this morning I never thought we'd see a race car on the racetrack. We got qualifying over with. We got the Busch race going on. I don't know how they do it. I don't know who's got the connection, but every time we got weather, they seem to be able to get the thing done anyway.
Well, since you're the one among us, among everybody here who has firsthand knowledge, what is the racetrack like?
Well, it's really good, and you know, this is a little bit different tire than we had here last race, and the tire seems to be real good, and the track's in good shape. They got it dry down low. That was the problem we had early. They used the jet dryer, and they got the thing dried up, and it's in good shape. It's fast and tight because it's cool weather, you know.
So let's show you what happened here. That is the aftermath of Sadler's car.
Wow, that's after he got in the wall there. He's coming into the grassy area in front of the grandstand here. You see it go out, and then he hits grass here.
Yeah. The thing I don't understand, buddy, was it looked like he was spinning the rear tires trying to get out of there, and that would appear to be a blown engine. So I'm not sure exactly what happened. Now this down in turn 2 here.
Morgan gets in the back of Markham just a little bit there. Don't take much coming out of that corner and turn you around.
Yeah, the white car, 99, I believe it was, or 57. I'm not sure which one it is. What's this white car out here? Is that
Bessie? 97?
97. He and Markham kind of had a little casual contact going into turn 1, and that kind of threw everything out of shape there. And then Morgan, I think, probably got in the gas. Markham didn't, and gave him a boot.
Let's go to Glenn.
Well, guys, Terry Labonte has brought his car back in. He was complaining of a push, as Buddy said earlier. They brought the car in under that caution period, put a rubber in the right front, and adjusted the left rear. But when they sent him back out, the NASCAR official was standing right there on the scene. They missed the lug nut on the right front. They had to bring Terry back in to take care of that problem. It didn't really hurt him because he was way back toward the back of the field anyway, but he's sure hoping that car will drive a lot better. He was really complaining of that push.
Thanks, Glenn. Patty Moise also makes a pit stop under this caution. L.W. Miller's car is behind the wall with the hood up. We're under caution. We'll be right back. Combs made a pit stop just as the green flag waved, lost a lap in the process. Mark Martin leading Chad Little in the lapped car of Tracy Leslie, and that of Curtis Markham. Jeff Green is the third place car. Johnny Benson in hot pursuit. There's that battle. And right with them, Busch champion David Green in the Slim Jim 44. Ooh, Mike Wallace dropped down and almost took the snout off of David Green's car there.
Boy, he had a lot of trust in Green there. He started across, and he really was in a blind spot on the race car there, and I'm sure Mike never was aware that he was under him, but that could have been a wreck.
You know, that 72 car, isn't it always this way, buddy? You have trouble smoking, and you lose some time trying to fix it, and then you got one of the fastest cars out there, and it doesn't do you any good.
Yeah, right. You can see he's eating Chad Little up in the corner right now.
Yeah, he is 4 laps off the pace, at least. After that first stop, actually he's way down the list, 18 laps down after 2 stops. Well, David Green retakes the spot from the Duron Paints number 90 of Mike Wallace.
Ooh, Mike's a little loose coming up out of that corner over there. But that's not unusual, Darrell, to see cars kind of fishtail coming up out of 2.
No, there's a transition there, buddy, from the banking onto the flat. You can see it if you catch the angle just right, and the cars go, they get loose right there. Got a car smoking down here.
Second place, Chad Little, and he's got lapped car. Tracy Leslie hung right onto him. There's Little a little loose there. Saying they're a little loose is like saying it's a little cold today.
yeah, it's kind of like saying it's minor surgery as long as it ain't happening to you.
Right.
That's kind of what a little loose is.
That's right. On that front, a hello to Harold Elliott.
Yeah.
Engine builder for Rusty Wallace's Winston Cup championship team in '89. Pneumonia and heart trouble. He's in the hospital, and we sure hope everything turns out okay.
Yeah, we'll sure say a prayer for him. I tell you what, he's one of the great ones. If anybody knows anything about motors in this sport, that's Harold Elliott.
Yeah, and Scott Mercer, I'm sure that they got the TV on today. We want to say hi to him. We kind of neglected to do that last week. We got busy and done other things, but Scott's better, and we just want to say hi to him.
Smoking and flying.
That's him.
Tracy Leslie.
Ooh, Chad's not going to be happy about this.
No, I wouldn't say. I'd say the Black Flag will probably find a way to find the 72 car here pretty quick.
Yeah, you can ride behind people smoking, but you can't get up in front of them like that and smoke.
And here comes Jeff Green. Chad Little backed out of it to get away from Tracy Leslie, and Jeff Green is going to move up and take up the spot.
Yeah, so you don't know when a car's smoking like that. I mean, your instinct is it's blowing up or there's something bad wrong with it, so you're going to give that guy a little extra room.
He gave him a lot of room, and he lost second place on account of it. The black flag is out for Tracy Leslie.
That's a shame because he is running.
Here comes Johnny Benson up to the inside of Chad Little, and the T5 goes.
Well, Benson said several times it's just a matter of time. They got a great car, great driver, and everything's in place to make a good run for the championship and a chance to win a race or two.
Yeah, he is a very talented driver. I can assure you that.
Napa, we keep America running. Here's how they're running at 45 laps. Benson's got a busy weekend. He and Jeff Fuller, some of these other drivers, get on a plane and go up to Race-A-Ram in Springfield, Mass. for tonight and tomorrow. So he's in a hurry to get this one over as well. Wants to get it over up front.
Darrell, Chad Little's reporting that his car's pushing real bad. So you know what that's like here. I mean, that's just about as bad a thing as being too loose.
Yeah, well, it's actually worse because you just can't ever get back in the gas as quick as you'd like to, and you lose a lot of middle of the corner speed.
David Green in the 44, now up on the back bumper of Chad Little.
Morgan Shepherd, he's in the pits. I think he's going behind the wall.
That's the Cheerwine number 21. Goes behind the wall. Let's go to Randy Pemberton.
Hermie Sadler absolutely heartbroken. We heard the car backfire on Hermie. What happened to it?
Nothing. The car was running fine. Came up on some lap calls and committed myself to go to the outside going in turn 3, and then 95 cars spun out in front of me, and I know he didn't mean to, just got caught up in it. Second week in a row, I thought we had a car capable of winning the race, and just can't get to the finish, you know. We'll come back and try it again next week, I guess.
Better luck next week. Finishing is everything in this sport. You can run well all day, but if you don't finish, it doesn't matter.
Well, there's a young man that's got the car owner blues right now. He's looking at the bills as well as looking at the not finishing.
Well, and if he looks at the points, only 2 races. He's 193 points back. That's more than a full race.
Yeah.
Well, you see David Green there. He got by Chad Little. Boy, this push condition he has right now, all he has to do is ride it out and hope he don't get in a lot of trouble with this push condition because, as you said before, you have to stay out of the gas when the front end is pushing. When it's loose, you have to get back in the gas, keep them coming around. So,
Well, it's, you know, with the tire situation, who knows? I think over the long haul, I'd rather have it pushing a little bit than I had to have it get real bad loose on it. Because you can control that push with your foot. It's kind of hard to control that looseness with your foot.
Mike Wallace, number 90. And Phil Parsons, the Luxair Chevrolet, number 99. This battle back at about 6th place.
And the 20 car there's Bobby Hillen just in front of him. They're racing everywhere you look around this racetrack right now for position. So we're just darting around, giving you guys something to look at here. These guys are all racing.
These cars are 5 seconds behind leader Mark Martin, and there right with him is the Red Dog number 8 of Kenny Wallace.
Kenny looked like he was having a little loose condition coming off 2 over there. He was flirting with that wall. If he flirts long enough, he'll get a date.
Yeah. Well, the whole deal is no practice, not enough time to really get out here and get your car dialed in for the race itself. These guys were on the track yesterday morning just for a few minutes, and now they're racing.
Look at Jason Keller, track record holder, and Mike McLaughlin, the black flag number 34.
McLaughlin's hard to keep up. But one week the car is orange, the next week is red and black. He's really hard to keep up with. But the name, number stays the same.
Right, yeah. Good thing. Larry Pearson right with them, two-time champion.
Well, I expect to see the 34 car with McLaughlin and that crowd. I expect to see them run up front. They're working on some things right now, but I think that's a good team right there. They can do a lot of, they can win some races.
The 92 car, the black and yellow car there, that's Larry Pearson. He's hoping for a good finish today, too. He's had a terrible start this year.
He really has, buddy. He needs something good to happen to him. He just can't seem to get it all together.
Let's go behind the wall. Here's Glenn.
Well, guys, Morgan Shepherd has brought his Cheerwine Ford into the Busch Grand National garage area. Morgan, what happened?
Well, first of all, just got hung up there when I think the 63 car bumped the car in front of him, and then I got bumped, and I bumped him, and we all spun out and banged up the car and had tires rubbing the fenders, and then we come in and put tires back on it and got the right front against the fender again. So just a bad day for the Cheerwine Thunderbird.
Did you learn anything at all about the racetrack maybe for tomorrow?
Yeah, we did. We felt like we could learn something from this, and I think we can help the Citgo Thunderbird a little bit.
Okay, Morgan Shepherd looking forward to a better day tomorrow.
As Mike McLaughlin goes underneath. Curtis Markham in 63. Larry Pearson follows suit.
You know, that pit stop that Terry had to come back in on, if things keep going like they are, he's on, Mark's coming off turn 2 there, and Terry's up here going into turn 3. Somebody needs to probably call Terry and tell him he might want to step it up a notch.
That's a good way to hear something that you don't want to hear, calling a driver who's driving his heart out there and telling him.
Oh, turn 1, big trouble. And the victim is L.W. Miller, but he was not the cause.
No, but I just, that car is, several cars have hit him already.
The yellow is out.
As they came down the front straightaway, the number 16 was going very slowly, Jerry Foyt. Joe Bessie went all the way down under the apron to get past him, and when Bessie tried to come up in line, they were going into that corner 3.5 wide. And as damp as it is down on the bottom, that is not going to work.
That 18 car, it's either got a cylinder gone in it or there's something wrong because he hadn't been able to run up really fast enough to stay out of people's way, and he got tagged a couple other times.
They were behind the wall for a while, brought it back out, and now rookie L.W. Miller sits in turn number 2 as we go to break. 60 laps are complete. Here's how they're running. Welcome back to Richmond. 61 laps complete. We're under caution. Folks at Steel bringing in these helicopter-mounted shots. Powerful, easy to use, and durable power equipment. Steel.
Boy, I tell you what, low as the ceiling is today, that guy up in that helicopter deserves some recognition, too. I think he's as brave as the race car drivers are.
Second caution of the day. First one came out for 2 two-car spins. Let's show you what happened here as we get down to turn 1. Well,
this is somewhat after the fact. This is the part that Joe Bessie wants you to see.
Right, this is the direct evidence. We don't have the circumstantial evidence.
That's right.
Well, it looked like Bessie got into the left rear corner, and you know, casual contact getting into that corner and sometimes gets a little more than casual.
Oh, I can hear Joe right now. No, you saw it on TV. I never touched him.
Here's Glenn. Glenn?
The track must be getting tighter, Glenn, because he wanted 5 to start with. Now he only wants 1.
Oh, okay. All right. Sorry, guys. I was talking with Steve Mill there. I saw when Mark Martin came in, Steve Mill went to the car. As well as it's running, he put a round of bite in it. And you might have heard Steve say there that originally Mark wanted 5 rounds of wedge, but they just decided that 1 would do it for right now. David Green, or Jeff Green, when he came in, they changed 4 tires, no chassis adjustment. Terry Labonte came back in. There was some miscommunication. He went out and he came back in again. So they're not having a very good day, although they are hanging on to that lead lap.
I don't understand that 44 car coming in late like that. You know, everybody already pitted, and he came down pit lane. Maybe we can find out what's going on down there.
Let's check with Randy.
Well, we can check on Chad Little. Of course, you guys documented Chad was complaining the car was tight. They went ahead and stuck a little piece of wedge in the left front, and they adjusted the air pressure in Chad's tires, trying to get him to loosen up just a little bit. One other guy, Mike Wallace, a little wedge out, a rubber in the right front. You're seeing a lot of that on first pit stops right now. Also adjusted air pressure on Mike Wallace's car. And let's go down pit road and see what Larry McReynolds has for us. Larry?
Okay, the story on the David Green car, unfortunately, is they have lost a cylinder. So on the first pit stop that they made, they tried to isolate what's missing as far as a spark plug wire or something of that nature. They really couldn't find nothing, so I think they're saying it's probably a rocker arm or something. So they come back in then to take the advantage of putting the fuel in it and getting the fresh tires. On the Johnny Benson car, a little bit of air pressure out of the right front because the car was pushing. A little bit of trouble on the left side tires, but they're backing away.
Thanks, Larry. We are back under green at lap 66.
Boy, there's a lot going on in the pits because, again, no practice, and everybody's working on their car trying to get it dialed in here.
Bobby Hillen on the tail end of the lead lap leads the pack in the Penelope Lance Snacks Ford. Mike Wallace right behind him. May have only taken on 2 tires, putting him to the front of the field.
Ooh, Mark Martin was looking low, looking high. We have a spin on the front straightaway. Chad Little made the 360 and kept going.
No caution.
Big cloud of tire smoke, and away he goes. Ooh, look at the back bumper. That didn't look like that a bit ago.
I think he had a little help there, huh? All I saw him when he went around. Jeff Green's running a whale of a race here. You see him there in 3rd spot coming by right now. Of course, Mark Martin's really setting a pace out here, but Jeff Green's driving a great race.
Yeah, and you know something? There's Mike Wallace leading the race again. That young man has figured out a way to get to the front almost every time I watch him race, and that's pretty impressive.
They had a 17-second pit stop, so may have only gotten 2 tires on that one. Show you what just happened here. Well, first off, let's look at this battle for the lead.
I was going to say impressive to lead, but it's impressive to stay there. You see Mark Martin going back to a very familiar spot here.
You always look good coming, but boy, you look bad going.
Mark Martin's going to take Jeff Green with him underneath Mike Wallace for the lead.
Wow, I'm telling you, Jeff Green's just as fast as Mark is right now. It looks like he may be getting through the corners just as well. Down the straightaway, Mark might get off the corner just a little bit better right along here.
Mark's sitting there thinking, you know, Dale Earnhardt is telling him, boy, I want you to lead this race. And Mark's smart enough to say, boy, I'm going to let you.
We'll see. Jeff Green in that black Goodwrench Chevrolet goes right up on the back bumper of Mark Martin. As this stabilizes a minute, let's show you what happened a moment ago. Look for the yellow car of Chad Little.
Yeah, it just got a traffic jam. It all backed up there in front of him, and it was bam, 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 and he caught the worst of the deal.
Boy, Kevin LePage was very, very lucky on the inside there. He almost collected him.
You know what? He could have done that last week and still won the race.
Yeah, what a difference today,
man. Last week he was so fast, and this week he's struggling.
What a tense moment for Chad Little.
You know, this is a humbling business.
I can see that. You got pretty humbled last week.
I sure did.
Oh,
I had all those cameras in my car. They watched everything I did.
See this black and white car making it too wide coming through. Oh,
trouble on Jeff Green.
Trouble.
I'm just really concerned about the durability on these.
It's backfiring out the exhaust pipe here. I don't know whether it's the ignition or what, but I've seen a big gray smoke come out of the right side.
I suspect she dropped the valve.
Jim Bound back behind the wall. The Amoco Fuel Oil Company. Number 51 made a couple of laps and has now gone back to the pits. And Jeff Green is going to, looks like, coast it around here. Can he get to the opening at turn 2?
No, he won't make it.
Not going to turn in.
Well, I'll tell you, I know we got a...
Kenny Wallace is making a bid here in the 8 car.
I know we got to watch the leader of this race, but our friend, Mr. Little, is doing about like he did last week. He is dicing and diving out there right now and coming through traffic.
This battle here is 3rd place. Johnny Benson under Mike Wallace now. And caution is out for the 3 car of Jeff Green that has stopped at the exit of turn 2. Boy, Benson and Wallace don't want to give this race up.
Well, they race back to the flag here. Here they come down right now.
And Benson takes a spot under caution. 3rd caution of the day, lap 76 for Jeff Green in the back straightaway. Hermie Sadler's car is back out on the racetrack after making repairs from his spin as part of the 1st caution of the day. We'll be right back after this. But Mark is checking out.
Yeah, he is. Kenny got a terrible start there. I don't know. Lap traffic got a little bit in his way, and now he's dropped about 8 or 10 car lengths behind the 60 car, Mark Martin.
The way this front straightaway is, buddy, going down into turn 1 is such a swing, you know, such a D shape that you can lose position just by being in the wrong place, getting in that corner.
You call this a straightaway?
Well, it's not. They call it a D. I guess it's pretty much a D.
Like a rounded side of a D.
That's it.
Along the front stretch.
You know, you never stop turning. Once you enter turn 3 there, you never stop turning. You get back to turn 1.
Now, see the curve here. They did this on purpose when they enlarged this track from half a mile so that all the fans along the front stretch, like at Michigan, could see without having to look over the tops of other people. Great for the fans, a little tough on the drivers.
Not only that, but we got all the pits on one side.
Yes.
Say, we should not have a racetrack with 2 pits. They all be on one side.
David Green coming up on the inside.
Whoa, he got a little help there getting in the corner. Elton Sawyer give him a little tap in the back. That's the problem to having the cylinder down.
Yeah, he's just, he can get through the corner and off the corner, but he can't get down the straightaway, and that's right where people catch him. See, he can go through the corner pretty quick.
Jeff Fuller right behind him on the lead lap.
He can call in now and say, I'm running wide open.
And here's Chad Little trying to battle back up through. And a little further back. There's that group, including David Green.
Darrell, you could have the fastest car out there and get bad track position and get hung up in real heavy traffic here. And it'd take you 20 laps to get out of heavy traffic and really make a run on people.
Yeah, because the track is so wide, so many grooves, so many places you can run, so many ways to enter turns here that, boy, you get caught in the wrong place, it hurts you.
3 different leaders, 3 caution flags for 15 laps. Tail of the race so far as they push the Duralube, number 64 of Dirk Stevens, back to the garage here. Second place.
Boy, Johnny Benson's really got this thing handling well. He's moved right up on Kenny Wallace now. He's got to get away from Peterwa, though. The 55 car there is Tim Peterwa, and he's a good runner, but he's not quite as quick as this guy right in front of him.
Peterwa is 1 lap down. And Little Joe's number 55.
Looks like Kenny Wallace may have an extremely fast car up off the corner. Johnny Benson's car seems to get in the corner a little bit better, Darrell.
Dennis Setzer around the outside of Mike Wallace.
That's beginning to be a popular pass. I've been watching several of the guys now making these wide passes in the corner. The cars must stick extremely well no matter where you're at on this racetrack.
Yeah, and the rain and the weather we've had is the track's clean. It's not got a lot of sand or dirt up in the high groove, and it's really easy to get in that corner on the high side and get traction that you need.
That pass was for 4th place. Kicks Wallace back to 5th. Here comes Mike McLaughlin in the 34. And Larry Pearson in 92. 86 laps complete. Mark Martin well out in front of this field after the last restart. Now Kenny Wallace and Johnny Benson trying to close in.
Coverage of the Hardee's Frisco 250 on TNN is brought to you by the more than 1,000 AutoZone stores across America. AutoZone, the best parts in auto parts.
Mark Martin continues to lead Kenny Wallace. Johnny Benson, a fast-closing Dennis Setzer in 4th place. That 5th place battle has been decided for now. There's a look at Benson and Setzer, 3rd and 4th. Mike McLaughlin has now moved up into the 5th spot, just ahead of what's been a great battle between Larry Pearson, Mike Wallace, Jason Keller, and Chad Little moving up. And Larry Pearson has fallen off the pace. He's very slow in the back straightaway. He's going to have to limp it around to get the pit lane.
Boy, they have not had one thing go right this whole season for Larry. I mean, he's been in some awful, awful bad luck situations.
Hey, Dennis Setzer, he's got this pedal to the metal. He's in there under Johnny Benson down in turn 1 and 2, passing him for 3rd place. He's on the move.
There's Chad Little. He's running quite well, but he can't get any kind of track position to make a run on anybody.
Boy, here's the battle for 3rd.
It's talking about Chad. He's lucky to be running after that spin he had early on. So he's doing a pretty good job just staying in the hunt.
Mike, the real impressive part, Dennis Setzer run his front group down from about a full straightaway back. And, I mean, you can see the car. He just caught Benson. He just put him away. He's about 8 car lengths on him now going down the back straightaway.
That car ran really well at Rockingham last week, and he had an engine problem, I think. It knocked him out of the race.
Well, he's got a ways to go to catch Kenny Wallace, but Wallace has taken off in hot pursuit of Mark Martin.
See, when you got a tire race like, you know, you got to conserve tires to some degree. You never know how hard a guy's running. Is he running hard enough to lead or run second, or what is he doing? It's hard to tell sometimes.
So there's third and fourth. Let's get an update on the fifth place car of Mike Wallace. Here's Larry McReynolds.
Talked to Barry Owens, crew chief for the Mike Wallace car, and I think what's happened to them is they're getting this long green run, and they only changed right side tires a while ago. They was trying to save some of their left side tires for this long 250 lap race, considering they only get 2 sets. But I think on this long run, it's kind of biting them right now.
He has drifted back a bit in the field, Larry. Here comes Chad Little right up under him and under Tommy Houston.
It seems to me like I remember when this was a race where we sat up here for about 30 minutes trying to decide if everybody made the right move on tires.
Yes.
Taking 2, taking 4, not taking any.
And you were right.
But now we got Larry McReynolds down there, and he can tell us exactly what the road to take.
Boy, he's an asset to any broadcast. You talk about somebody who knows his stuff, Larry McReynolds knows it.
Boy, Chad Little is in a pack of traffic. That Red Devil car, Tommy Houston, number 6, he's right up there battling for position.
I'm going to tell you, that 23 car has got good pedals in it.
Good pedals?
Uh-huh. It's got good gas pedals, got good brake pedals. Because I'm telling you, he's pushing on both of them all the time. he just drives the wheels off that thing. Look at him right here.
Ooh, 3 wide. How could that have worked?
Tommy Houston made a very wise decision caught in the third lane out there coming off the corner.
And here comes Bobby Dotter in the Hyde Tools car, 08, up to be part of this battle.
You know, Tommy Houston in the 6 car there. Is that him in that 6 car? He's running pretty good today, too.
Yeah, looks real racy.
He's moving right up through the field, and he's one of those kind of guys you don't notice being in the race till it gets real late.
Jeff Green. Here's Glenn.
Well, Mike, unfortunately, they don't know anything yet. When Jeff was running second, the car just shut off. They had him to change the ignition boxes going around when he was coasting around. That didn't help. They brought it in. Tony Urey, the crew chief, told me he thought it was the rotor button on the distributor. They changed that. That didn't work. They changed plug wires. They have changed everything electrical and ignition-wise that they could. The car will not fire one single lick. So right now they're pushing him behind the wall. They're dumbfounded, baffled. They do not know what's wrong with the car.
Well, they need to go see Mark Goodwrench.
Mark Martin's off the pace.
And we have a new leader, Kenny Wallace.
Mark just came off of 2, and his car just quit. I believe there's some gremlins in the air today.
Well, they ran those as modified, but not since the late 70s.
I think, you know what it is? I think it's the ozones. I think the ozones are getting in there and messing up these cars.
Something's happening.
Yeah, Mark's not happy. He's switching the ignition there. You see him reach over. He's trying something different.
Yeah, he's trying to refire it. It won't fire.
That won't work. I said bump it, not pump it.
Yeah, you saw the camera mounts on Mark Martin's car. He's going to go to the garage. We have cameras on Mark and Dirk Stevens, but unfortunately, the low ceiling here, the low cloud cover, will not allow our helicopters that transmit that signal to get high enough up to bring it to you. So Mark is behind the wall after dominating much of this race. Let's check with Larry.
I'm telling you, the 92 car's got the same problem, just shut off like it might have a broken rotor button, broken timing chain. What we got to remember, for those of y'all that watched the Rockingham race last week, it was about this deep into the race, about 100 laps, 75, 80 miles, that all those motor gremlins started coming out.
Well, they're back.
I think that's going to be part of this whole process.
And I think we're about to see a Chevrolet lead this race. Now, Kenny Wallace is up front in a Ford in the Red Dog car. But here comes Dennis Setzer.
Boy, Dennis Setzer, he's got the pedal to the metal. He's doing what he has to do. He's catching up right now.
There's Setzer running in second place. Johnny Benson is third. Mike McLaughlin is fourth. Terry Labonte presently fifth.
You know, that 59 car, just in case you've forgotten, is the car that got Robert Presley the ride he has today because of the wins and the way he performed in that car. And it's doing the same thing for this young man.
Yes.
He's putting on a good show today, and he's going to win some races. He did and win a couple already, I think. So he's got a lot of talent there.
So Kenny Wallace, who won here last September, leads this race with 107 laps complete. We're under caution, and Patty Moise is the reason why. The car went around at turn number 2, and you can see heavy damage at both ends.
Yeah, that one pretty well used up there, Darrell.
Yeah, I don't even think Purex will get that out.
Oh,
Did they make a big hammer?
Or maybe wash it with Dial. I don't know, but I don't think it's going to work.
Pit stops. Bobby Dodder's in. Jeff Fuller, Mike Wallace. Dennis Setzer came in. Here's David Green, Joe Bessie as well. Setzer took on fuel only, so he'll be the first one on there.
I'm curious to know, Larry McReynolds might be able to find out if that 59 car is still a banjo car or not. They've run those cars in the past.
Or Patty sideways. Watch this impact. She hits hard, and then the front comes around and gets into the wall. Where she's sitting is even worse than hitting that wall, though. That scares you to death, just sitting there in all that oncoming traffic.
Yeah. You know, she needs to be glad that wall is now concrete. Remember when Neil Bonnet was leading the race here in Junior's car, and it was double-strand Armco, and he hit the wall coming out of turn 2, and the car just stuck in the wall like an arrow and stopped.
That was 1985. He was leading the race.
You were second, I believe.
Yeah. Dale won that race. Jeff rode down and run third, and second, I run third. I was on pole.
So heavy damage. Patty Moise's crew trying to get her back into this race. We'll take a break from Richmond at lap 115. Here under the green. Pace car is in. And Kenny Wallace hauls him down to the green flag. Johnny Benson is second. Lap car of Bobby Hillen up on the outside. Mike McLaughlin moves to third after Dennis Setzer's pit stop under the caution. Terry Labonte in fourth. And Phil Parsons up in the fifth spot.
You see Johnny Benson getting a great start in the second spot there. He had to get by Bobby Hillen. One thing ASA drivers don't do is ever make a bad start.
Good point. Jason Keller's up to seventh. And Chad Little, the man who's trying to become the first ever to win the first 3 races of the season, he is 8th.
You know, Darrell's dangerous to sit by. I thought I used my arms. He poked me 2 or 3 times when he started 3 wide.
Well, I just wanted you to see what was going on, buddy.
No different than when you two are racing each other.
Oh, God, got trouble.
And around goes 2 cars.
Oh, bad spot.
John Tanner's one of them.
Joe Bessie in there.
That reminds me of last year here. Remember when that car came down off the wall and somebody just ran right into him? I forget who it was.
Greg Clark was the first car to spin. It is not Joe Bessie. Rather, it's the 05 of Steve Boley that tried the high side to get away from the spinning car of John Tanner, the Caterpillar car, and ended up running into the parked car that was already up there.
Where did that 20 car go? Did he get a lap?
That's the we'll check. That's the Curtis Key 05. Tough break for that team. Now there is Bobby Hillen.
Wasn't he up there in the mix?
He was well ahead of the incident. There it is back in the middle of the field.
I guess I was.
Greg Clark was that red and white car. And there you see the 05. Just couldn't get past.
That's about the second or third incident that the big cat car has been in.
Yes.
You know, Darrell, 10 years ago, that would have been a major incident right there. But with the great spotters and the radio communication, that really makes racing a lot safer. Everybody was yelling, watch this, go high, go low, telling them what to do.
Yeah. Joe Bessie has a little bit of damage from an earlier incident as he comes onto pit road. That Davison team looking for a sponsor. Joe Bessie is the subject of today's Pep Boys driver profile. Joe Bessie is back full-time on the Busch Grand National Circuit, and this time he's a serious contender.
We're getting a lot of respect from the drivers on the track and even in the garage area now, and that means a lot. People wonder, it seems like every week Dale Earnhardt's out somewhere between 30th and dead last, and in 15 laps he's up front. Well, 90% of the reason he's up front is because he gets a lot of respect from everybody on the track. And that respect is, I mean, you can have the best team and the best of equipment, but if you haven't got 39 other people out there that give you a little respect, your chances are you won't survive the day.
That blank quarter panel look, lack of sponsorship, took Bessie off the circuit last year. But now he's teamed up with Pat Davison out of Delaware and is very optimistic.
There's a lot of people over there that have been truly supportive of me. They know what I'm going through, and they've coaxed me to hang in there. Doug Yates, Robert Yates' son, last week grabbed me and said, "You've got to hang in there. You don't know how close you are to making it over here. Just hang in there." And those type of things is what keeps me going.
Our driver profile brought to you by Pep Boys for quality parts, tires, and service. There's a look at Joe Bessie.
In a Pontiac.
Yes, he is. 123 laps are complete. Let's go to the Dennis Setzer pit. Here's Glenn.
Ricky Pearson is talking to him right now, Mike. We'll find out. Rick, you elected to make a pit stop on that last caution for fuel, but have you got enough to go all the way now?
No, we don't have enough fuel. That's the reason we pitted. We can only go about 92 green laps, and we went 53. So, hopefully they'll go long enough where the other cars will have to pit under green, and maybe we'll catch a caution after that, and maybe get them lapped down or something.
Okay, so that's the strategy, folks. I wondered why he did that, guys, because I knew he couldn't go all the way, but that explains it.
Right there is a lot of talent. I want everybody to know Ricky Pearson, no matter where he goes, there's natural-born winners, and he's the crew chief that is a natural-born winner.
There he was, a pretty good driver, too, in the Baby Grands. He drove a car painted like Richard Petty's, and his brother Larry drove one painted like his dad's, the Purelator car.
Yeah, well, you could hear a lot of David Pearson in his comments just then. A lot of wisdom.
Yeah, a lot. One lap to go. We'll go racing. Remind you that two of the biggest names in sports and entertainment have a major marketing alliance. Gaylord Entertainment, parent company of TNN, and NASCAR have teamed up to offer up Opryland USA as the official NASCAR destination. Since fans of NASCAR and fans of country music are the same people, that's its natural pairing. Opryland, now the official NASCAR destination.
Yes, sir. March the 19th, we're going to be over racing those Busch cars, too, and I'm going to be right up in the middle of them.
Getting set for the restart here.
Darrell, you see him really whipping that steering wheel back and forth to get all the rubber and stuff off of the tires before the restart. Is that really important here, or with the way you go in the corner here, couldn't you scrub it off down the front stretch? You're in the turn pretty much.
Well, what happens during second gear on these restarts, if you don't have the tires clean, you'll spin the tires and you'll get run over from behind, or you'll get a bad restart. So that's part of the whole deal.
I knew that. I just wanted you to say something.
Oh, you set me up, didn't you?
19 cars are on the lead lap as we go back to green. Kenny Wallace out in front of the field. Johnny Benson now underneath the number 55 of Tim Fito as we watch Terry Labonte.
I was just fixing to say Terry Labonte is moving up through this crowd like you wouldn't believe. That car is really hooked up. That is not Terry Labonte as I was speaking just then.
That's
Elton Sawyer there, but just in front of them is the 14 car, and he is moving like crazy.
4 lead changes among 4 different drivers. 5 caution flags now for 25 laps.
Mike McLaughlin's making a good run here today, too, y'all. He's right there in 3rd place, and his car looks really good.
There's Jim Bound at 51 back on the speedway.
What's
and
wrong with
Mike
that?
Wallace comes around Elton Sawyer.
What are you laughing
Folks, there's about to be a big wreck up here in the booth, and I don't want to be part of it, okay?
He keeps poking me. I wish he did. He's a lot bigger than I am. He knows he can whip me. I don't know why he keeps poking him. And I can't get him out on the track.
That 63 car, that's Curtis Markham there under Mike Wallace. Making it 3 wide. Somebody's got to give there.
Yeah, Markham's a lap off the pace. Let's move up to 4th place. 99 Phil Parsons coming up on Terry Labonte and Jason Keller, the Budget Gourmet, 57 right there.
Boy, Phil Parsons got in there a little hot and got in the side of Fito while I moved him out of the groove. But when you do that, you don't really hit them. You just kind of help move them out of the place you need to be.
Yeah, well, that 99 car, that's as good as this run this year, too, and he's making a good move to the front.
Old David Ift is crew chief on that car.
You got to be kidding. Oh, goodness gracious, got a
turn 2. One car, John Tanner, spun and got going again, no caution. So we'll stay with this battle. Here is Chad Little getting up to be part of it. He trails to 57 into the corner. Jason Keller, and there's Keller got a little bit against Fito. Now, are you trying to move Fito over, or is it that 8 wheels corner better than 4 right there?
A lot more side bites that way.
Yes.
But Fito is just really hard. He's giving everybody a hard time. A lap down, they're trying to pass him, and this is making it hard for everybody.
I thought Mike Wallace had Chad Little set up for a pretty good crunch there, but Mike did a super job of checking up just a little bit and giving a little room to Chad Little.
And here Mike moves underneath Fito on. And Tommy Houston's part of this battle. He's in 8th place in the number 6 Red Devil car.
Well, I'm glad to see him run good.
Yeah.
He has had a tough time, and what a great family. A great racing family. His kids all work on the car. His son drives there at Hickory. They're good folks. Scott worked for us last year and did a good job. Oh, Mike McLaughlin.
There is the battle where McLaughlin is right now on the back bumper of Johnny Benson.
That's an impressive run, too. He's handling quite well. He's moved right up on Benson. Benson's car seems to go away after about 20 laps, Daryl. After they have a restart, he's real good. He can keep up with the lead cars, and then he starts fading a little bit.
Yeah, it's probably a loose condition. Usually when you can run fast for a few laps after tires cool off, you're usually a little loose.
Kenny Wallace just going out of screen there is your leader. Johnny Benson and the Lipton T car in second. There you saw the differential. And now here's Terry Labonte up on the outside, going to lose a spot to Mike Wallace.
Yeah, I'm not sure what's going on there. Terry looks like all of a sudden he slowed down.
Ooh, lap car kept Mike from moving right underneath Jason Keller and on up.
Yeah, and Chad Little's right there to go by Terry, too.
2 laps ago, Little was trying Wallace on the outside, but found nothing there. Labonte is 6th.
Oh,
Terry's got a
he's
problem.
way off. That car won't stay on the bottom of the racetrack. He went in on the bottom lane and went straight up.
It acts like it's got a tire going down. There goes the 6 by him.
Laps to go. And here's your leader, Kenny Wallace. Wallace enjoys a lead of about 15 car lengths on Johnny Benson and Mike McLaughlin. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Richmond. Mike Joy with Darrell Waltrip and Buddy Baker. Glenn Jarrett, Randy Pemberton, Larry McReynolds on pit road for TNN today. Let's watch race leader Kenny Wallace.
The 44 car is down a cylinder. We know that, and he's still been able to hang on to the tail end of the lead lap.
Well, Kenny Wallace is running super well, but just behind Kenny Wallace here, I mean, his brother's making a run. He is now in 3rd place. He just passed McLaughlin going in the corner to take over 3rd place. He has got this thing in the wind.
Just remember, Kenny Wallace took the lead just before halfway last September and led the rest of the way here. Let's get today's AutoZone Tech Pack, brought to you by the more than 1,000 AutoZone stores across America. AutoZone, best parts in auto parts. Here's trouble in turn 2. 1 car up and into the wall. That's Greg Clark. 2nd twirl of the day for the number 53.
You know, you reported that the 14 car of Terry Labonte had a right front leaking down. This is a break for him.
Well, it really is. Keeps him on the lead lap.
Show you what happened to Greg Clark, old Chatham, New York driver.
That's Phil Parsons under him below the yellow line. He sweeps up just a little bit, a little contact there. Elton Sawyer going by on the inside.
Yeah, Little.
Everybody else gets past.
And here they come onto the pit lane.
There's leader Kenny Wallace. Crew. Randy's there.
Jim Murray and the crew were talking to Kenny previously. Kenny was complaining about being loose getting into the corners, particularly going down into 1. They're going to change all 4 tires. Jim Murray led crew doing a fine job so far. No problems on the left side. Glenn, this pit stop's almost over. What's going on pit road?
Randy, Johnny Benson has brought his car in, and crew chief Steve Bird called for 4 tires. That's what they're doing. Johnny reports that the car is a little bit tight, but they did not want to adjust it. He thought it would be okay. It wasn't too tight. Bothered him that bad. They got them all 4 on. He's down and away.
28.5 seconds. Did Benson beat Wallace out? We'll see how they call it. Now, 103 laps to go. Some of the teams reported they could run 90 to 94 laps on a pit stop.
Yeah. I'd say they close. I'd say they can make it.
Okay. Now let's go to Larry, get today's AutoZone Tech Pack.
Okay, we've been hearing about a lot of broken timing chains here today, and this timing chain looks a lot like the one in your passenger car. I talked to Robert Yates, who built a lot of the 9-to-1 engines on this Busch series, and he feels like one thing that's doing this is possibly the engine builders of the 9-to-1 maybe are pressing the envelope just a little too much with engine timing. Now, one thing that the GM teams have perfected, the Ford teams are still working on is the belt drive that replaces the chain that will just let the entire valve train of the engine just run a lot smoother.
Yeah, that's a good point, Larry. We run the belt drive and have for quite some time. Hendrick actually, when I was getting engines from him, that's the way they did theirs. We've done ours that way, and we haven't had a failure yet.
102 laps to go. As we work this caution period, and yeah, baby, it's cold outside. We'll be right back.
The Frisco 250 on TNN is brought to you by Napa. We keep America running.
We've been back under green for just one lap. Dennis Setzer's at the front of the parade. Mike Wallace in second. Jason Keller, the 57, in third. The 35 was right there. That's Doug Heveron, but they did not stop, and so do not have fresh tires. For the lead, Mike Wallace going after Dennis Setzer and taking the lead.
That red, white, and blue car down on the inside. It's good to see that kid run good, because he had some good runs at the end of last year. And, here he is right up in the middle of the things today.
Yeah, that's Jason Keller. He sat on the pole 2 or 3 times last year. He's been very, very fast, but this is good to see him run this well this late in the race.
Holds the track record here. And right behind him, here's the battle for third. Johnny Benson, listed number 74 inside Setzer.
Dennis Setzer was just flying a while ago. He seems to not have a handle on it right at the moment, though. He's not running like he was before. You see Kenny Wallace going by him on the inside with little effort at all.
I don't know how many times they've changed tires. You know, they went in at one time and just fueled. They may be saving a bunch of tires for the end of this thing.
That could well be. The NASCAR allowed the teams 2 sets of tires to use to put on the car during caution periods during the race. You can change as many as you want under green, but only 2 full sets under caution. Use them as you choose.
We just had a report that Dennis Setzer has no tires left. 1 set left, pardon me.
I thought if he didn't have any left, somebody stole it.
Really? I think you're right.
My math ain't real good, but I know how many times he changed tires.
All right. So he's changed once and has a set left, so he's going to drift back in the pack a bit for now. But if he gets a chance to put another set on, the car should be good to go.
The car on the move right now is Chad Little, the 23 car you see right here. He's moved himself right back into the top 5, and I tell you, he's really got a good handle on the car.
Yeah, but give a call to the man right behind him, Randy Porter, in that red number 48 car. Hadn't run a lap here, hadn't been in a race car in about 6 months. He's in 6th place in that red car.
Wow.
Them boys from Greenville, South Carolina drive anything. I can tell you that right now.
It's a good driver.
Yeah.
Yep, there's Chad Little chasing Kenny Wallace. Mike Wallace at the front of that pack in the front of this race at 157 laps.
Here comes Benson to the inside. He took a look at Jason Keller, said, not quite enough room, though.
Nope.
Well, you heard him say Benson's car just a skosh tight there when he made his pit stop, but he thought it was going to be okay, and it looks like he was right.
Benson comes up, drops low. Looks at Keller.
That move right there, Mike, is what makes this place here real tricky. You can, about the start-finish line or just a little pass here, dive to the inside, and you take that guy on the outside line away, and you just about got to let the guy on the inside go. But if he doesn't, it gets real interesting.
Yes. There's how Mike Wallace's day has gone so far at the bottom of your screen. And here's Kenny coming up for 3rd place. Little brother. Won here last September.
Chad comes right along with him. He's now moved into 4th place, so he's on the go.
The odds were pretty long this morning about Chad Little completing the trifecta and winning the season's first 3 races, but those odds are getting shorter.
You got that right. He's looking mighty good today.
Look at this crew. Now, that's what it's all about. When the crew has that much momentum before it goes right into pit stops and everything else, they believe in their driver, Johnny Benson.
He's in 2nd place. But Kenny Wallace is looking all over the back of that car.
Kenny's got I think probably got about the best car right now. I think he's probably managing it a little bit better, too.
Johnny Benson running in 2nd place. Last year's Rookie of the Year. Johnny, is it easier coming to these tracks this 2nd time around?
I don't know if I say easier. It's, you know, we're just getting a chance now to look in some different areas to make our team better, the cars better, me better. I mean, that's the areas we're working at. Is, you know, the team's great, the cars have been pretty good, and it's just, you know, now getting myself to, you know, get that little extra edge that we've been looking for last year. But that's going to come with experience.
He's gaining a lot of it right now.
Well, that's 4 pretty equal match cars, right? As we look at Mike Wallace leading this group, nobody's able to really establish dominance in this race right now. It's just good, hard-nosed, short-track racing.
Yeah, that's 3 Fords and a Chevrolet. Chevrolet runs the second. Parity's pretty equal here in Busch racing.
Almost a big moment.
Oh, man, Chad Little just about went to the farm on that move.
Jason Keller didn't have anywhere to go except into Chad Little.
Greg Clark, who's already been in 2 spins today, getting a bit impatient. 3 wide around Steve Boley, and fortunately that time there was room for everybody.
Jason Keller don't want to give up that 4th spot.
Well, Chad's going to take it on the high side. And look right behind him. Here comes Randy Porter in that red 48 car. He is a threat.
Yeah, that's a great run for him.
Yes.
Nothing on the quarter panel, but a lot under the hood on that 48 car. And he's driving the car very well. He's not being impatient and doing foolish things. This car is as fast as anything out there.
Porter ran 3rd at Atlanta last spring, and he's up in the top 7 spots here.
I wonder if that 48 car is, what was that guy's name who used to work for Firestone? Gene Petty? That Skinner set on the pole at Charlotte in the Busch race there last time. I'd like to know whose car that is.
It's the family car. Eddie Porter owns it.
Eddie.
And a fellow named Scott Griffith is the crew chief.
Kenny Wallace is all over the back of Benson. I mean, there wasn't inches apart in the corner. He's trying to make a move right now on the outside. If he passes Benson on the outside, he gets the Attaboy Award. How'd you like to be a sandwich out there with 2 brothers like that? You have been, as a matter of fact. Why did I ask that?
Chad Little off the
Oh, no.
off the pace.
Tire? He just kind of shot up the racetrack there in turn 4.
I think he's got more than a tire problem. And you answer your question, but it only got 1 brother, and I'm glad of it. That racing with. I got another brother at home, Bobby, but only one I race with.
Boy, Chad is still up there. We are still green. He's trying to let traffic get past so he can get back down to the bottom. The last driver to win 3 in a row was Harry Gant in 1991. The all-time record, Sam Ard in 1983 won 4 Busch races in a row. Chad Little will not win his 3rd straight today.
That's too bad. He was doing a great job. You know, he had spun here on the front straightaway early on, and now he's got some, I think, engine problems.
Here comes Benson on the inside, trying to get under Wallace, going down into turn 1.
Tommy Houston's hanging in there too, y'all. He's just kind of lingering back here, doing a good job.
For 2nd place, Mike Wallace, Kenny Wallace on the high side, Johnny Benson on the bottom, turn 3.
Brother or not, Kenny Wallace is going to go the fastest line, which is the bottom, and he goes right by his brother there. Mike Wallace moves him in 3rd place right now.
I think we're seeing Kenny really drive a smart race. He's letting Benson and his brother there kind of fight it out, and when one of them makes a little slip, he just goes right with the other one, and he's just using his head today.
Well, he knows how to win here. He won the last Busch race that we covered here.
Well, it makes a big difference. I'm telling you, if you can just win a race, it really makes a big difference. And then you have a lot of confidence coming in here. You know what to do that's hard, you know how to set it up.
Chad Little, meanwhile, has gone to the garage as Jason Keller battles Randy Porter and veteran Tommy Houston.
Tommy Houston, he's probably got more miles on the race car than anybody up here. When I first started, this man was winning races, and he's been at it for many, many years. Good race car driver.
Yeah, and he's got a good sponsor on the car this year with Red Devil, and I just hope he has a good year. Tommy's problem is he doesn't have trouble in the race. He has trouble making races.
That's true.
We just had a report that Chad Little broke a timing chain, just what Larry Reynolds was talking about on the last break.
See, these cars have a roller camshaft in them, and we haven't run roller camshafts enough in Winston Cup to know what will and won't break, and I think that's one of those growing pains that this 9-to-1 engine and the V8 in this series you're going to have to go through.
That's hard to believe that a nylon belt could be stronger than steel, but it is.
Well, it's one of those clog belts like we run the oil pumps off of, and they got enough give in them, they don't break.
Yeah, Gilmer belt, they call it. It's got square-edged teeth around the inside of the belt.
Yeah.
Keep everything in alignment and turning right. So Johnny Benson is now up front. Kenny Wallace in 2nd. Mike Wallace now 3rd. Jason Keller 4th. And Tommy Houston has moved up to 5th. Outdoor power equipment with qualities you can depend on in steel territory, bringing you these pictures from overhead Richmond International Raceway. We're sorry we can't bring you in-car cameras today because the low cloud ceiling won't allow the helicopter that relays those pictures to get up high enough in the air. So here is a look at your leader, Johnny Benson. Kenny Wallace tacked right on to him as they lap the cars of Bowley and Clark.
Darrell, that was very impressive getting in the corner there. Benson got in as good as he could. Kenny went in a little bit wide and made up ground on the outside, so he's got a very strong car.
Well, you can see Kenny's going to the outside again, and the outside of the racetrack is fast today. As we talked about earlier, just don't have the debris and all up there like you normally would have. We have all the practice and qualifying. It's pretty clean today.
Two lead cars, third place of battle as they lap past Kurt Shelmerdine.
Jerry Monty is stepping it up nicely right now.
He's taking third. Behind these two. Now they move up on John Tanner. Caterpillar, number 95. Going 5 laps down.
It's hard to tell what Kenny's doing here. He drops back, maybe cools his tires just a bit, and then he makes another run at Benson. I think he's going to have everything perfect when he does make his move on Benson to make that pass.
I think the crew's telling him, Betty, Kenny, we still got 50, 65 laps to go here. Don't use up your tires.
Nope. Here's Larry.
Okay, we're with Chad Little. Chad, things kept fighting you, kept clawing your way back. What was kind of the dying blow?
Something broke in the motor. The motor guy thought it was probably a camshaft or timing chain, but something let go in the motor and just started vibrating really bad going down the back straightaway. So I shut it off and coasted around. It was a long day out there, spinning out there in the front and working our way back up, and then the motor letting go. But that's all part of racing, and we'll be back next week. We got a real good car for Atlanta, same car we won at Rockingham with, so we'll look forward to that weekend.
Okay, that's the story from Chad Little. Sounds like they'll be ready when they get to Atlanta next week.
Thanks, Larry.
Yeah, that was a lot of good news, bad news. Bad news is I fell out today, but the good news is I got that car run at Rockingham for next week. That's bad news for everybody else.
Yeah.
That thing is fast.
About to be bad news for David Green, the defending Busch champion, because here comes Johnny Benson to put a lap on him. He is the 16th place car, the last car on the lead lap.
Well, Green has run super well. He's been on 4 or 5 cylinders for the last little bit. It comes by. It really does not even sound like a motor. It just goes by. But I tell you what, he's done well to stay in the lead lap this long.
I've had a lot of
How'd
motors
you like
go
my
like
car
that.
sound, huh?
Yeah. I've had a lot of motors sound like that.
Here's your Napa Field standing update. Napa, we keep America running. Here's how they're running.
I seen it last week.
That one wasn't even running.
Had a lot of folks wonder, just what was it with that car and that day? I mean, just, Darrell, nothing just seemed to work right.
No, it was just, I don't know if it was the car, I don't know. The motor eventually is what put us out of the race, but the car wasn't very good, and I just decided that we would just come in and work on it. I'd never done that before, and I just felt the second race of the year, we need to find out what our problem is and see if we can correct it. I think it'll pay off down the road. Short-term problem, hopefully it'll be good for our long-term investment in our team.
Side by side for 4th place here. Phil Parsons underneath Mike Wallace. As we mentioned, Wallace has put all the tires on the car that he has.
I'm really impressed with Parsons today. He's driving his heart out, and he's been in a couple of little questionable bumps along in there, but he's been on the inside where you have to be, and there's been some brushes, but look how he comes off this corner. They really have that car dialed in well.
Tommy Houston right with him, and Jason Keller and Randy Porter.
Tommy Houston has worked his way through most of those cars in that pack right there that gets by Keller. That puts him up, I don't know, 5th place, I think.
Mike McLaughlin right with them with that pack will be the next car in view.
You see Mike Wallace here in the green and black car coming out of the corner. Just a second ago, he was fighting for the lead. Now he's fighting for his life, and he's out of tires. It's been reported that even if they have a caution, he has no more tires left.
Now, let's mention the strategy of Dennis Setzer has backfired. They stayed out on the track hoping to get those tires late, but he has gone a lap down, staying out for this whole green flag run on worn tires.
That's the whole deal with the tires, Mike. You sit on a set hoping for a caution late, you don't get it, and it makes you look real bad.
Phil Parsons has moved away from that pack. Glenn had a chance to ask Phil yesterday, kind of summed up the feelings of a lot of the Busch drivers when Glenn asked him, are you glad that the tire war of last year is over?
The thing I like about it is you know you're on a level playing field. I mean, now I ran Hoosiers last year some, and they had a very good tire on occasion. And there was races. I mean, here at Richmond last fall, I mean, they would run good for a while, but they would go away, probably twice as fast as Goodyear. So we had to make 2 unscheduled pit stops under green. So that took us completely out of contention. There were 2 or 3 other races that we had the same thing that completely took us out of contention. So, I mean, basically we wasted our time being there. But now we know that we've got the same tires as the guy next door, the guy leading the race or whatever. So, if his tires last 75 laps, then ours should too. If they don't, then we need to work on the car to make sure that they do.
But today the question is when you put those tires on. Dennis Setzer's in the pit right now getting tires under green. 29-second stop.
Yeah, he lost him. He was almost ready to go a lap down, a big go a lap down, and now he lost another 2 minutes. So those 4 tires cost him 2 laps.
Back up front, Johnny Benson and Kenny Wallace. Is Wallace running as hard as he can, or is he just kind of looking in, watching, and waiting? We'll come back and find out after this. Kirk Shelverdine spun all by himself in the front straightaway, grabbed a gear and got going, no caution. Then up in turn number 4, L.W. Miller spun again. John Tanner came in and spun again, and everybody took evasive action.
Well, in defense of L.W., his car is down on, I don't know, 4 or 5 cylinders, whatever it's on. He can't run fast enough to get out of the way. And people run up into the corner behind him, and they expect him to go, and he don't do it, and they tag him and turn him around.
Good point. Let's check with Glenn.
Well, guys, right before that caution come out, Mike Wallace and his crew had decided to pit on lap 200. Well, the caution came out right 1 lap before that. So now they can't change any more tires under caution. They've used up their allotment. They were going to change under green. So as soon as the race goes green again, Mike Wallace will bring the number 90 in for a 4-tire stop. As you said a while ago, that strategy backfired on Dennis Setzer. They pitted right before that caution, lost another lap. So not a good day for them. But Wallace might still be able to make it work, even though he's out of tires to change under caution.
No, that's it, Glenn. One thing you can't plan is when those cautions are going to fall.
Darrell, we need to talk about that. If he comes down pit road and they get the green flag, he's nearly going to be a lap down. All he can hope for is a caution pretty quick so he can close back up on the lead cars.
Yeah, but he's a lot better off now than he was, because he was more than a lap, more than a straightaway behind, and he would have definitely gone a lap down in the distance. And now he's going to come out either right in front of the leaders or right behind with 4 tires. He ought to be able to get that lap back if he gets another caution.
Now, you know who just got tires? Randy Porter had saved a set of tires.
Well, that might be some trouble
48
for a lot of these people.
We'll see. Hood up on Kevin LePage.
I bet the people at home wonder what's the deal with the tires? Why you got all these, they talk about his tires.
Well, that's it. And of course you don't wear them out, but in most conditions new tires are faster than the ones you've had on the car, so if you can change, you've got to.
Yeah, well, the deal is the whole idea behind the tires is trying to save these guys money. If you let them have all the tires they want, every time we had a caution you'd get 4 tires, and they'd use 40 tires today.
They're holding Jeff Fuller at turn 3. He had passed the leader after going past the start-finish line, so they'll put him in his proper order. He is the highest running rookie in the race and has just went a lap down before that caution came out. In fact, on the lap that caution came out. Bill Dance Outdoors will air here at 3:30, 1/2 hour later than its usual time due to the Hardee's Frisco 250 starting a little late. So tune in today at 3:30 Eastern, and right after Bill Dance, NHRA Today features drag racing excitement from Houston. That'll be at 4 p.m. right here on TNN Motorsports. 204 laps are complete, 46 to go. Now Randy Porter's just been back in and out of the pits again. Let's go to Randy.
Well, I'll tell you what, nobody in this race currently right now has more experience than Terry Labonte. He's currently sitting 3rd. The bottom line is the crew came over and said, save those tires. I did go down to Kenny Wallace's pit, asked them if they could go the distance. They said it would be awfully close. So I'm speculating there's a possibility that Terry Labonte could try and go the distance. So we're going to see whose tires last right now. And Terry is certainly sitting there perched for a victory here.
All right, they're straightening out the restart lineup. NASCAR is judging that Kenny Wallace had come to the flag ahead of Johnny Benson.
Well, he definitely beat him back to the flag, and now NASCAR has to sort this out. And that's not a very popular thing when you're in the lead and if they get back in the second.
No, because it's a break for Kenny, because Kenny been trying to pass him for the last 30 laps. So that racing back to the flag paid off that time. It was a little hairy looking coming off 4 here.
There'll be no restart. They're having trouble getting cars lined up. The lead lap cars start on the inside. And apparently there's still a bit of miscommunication on the Jeff Fuller car. Fuller thought he should be on the inside row on the lead lap. And as we recounted, on the race back to the flag, Kenny Wallace got past him. So now he moves to the outside lane. He should be the first car a lap down, but he's a little further back than that. So we'll get set for the restart next time by.
Tommy Houston's up to 4th, and that car looks awfully fast.
Let's show you that race back to the flag and where that confusion ensued. There's L.W. Miller.
Boy, this look at that 16 car. Or no, is that the 6th?
6.
Wow. He just barely made it. Here they come off a corner, diving and darting. And they went right under my TV. I can't see them under there.
That was that first pack after the incident rather than the leader. All right, ready for the restart. Can Kenny Wallace make it 2 in a row here at Richmond? Can Johnny Benson post his first win of the year?
Spotters hauling on the radio and the crew choose 2s. Buff those tires off and get ready to go. And that's exactly what Kenny was ready.
Kenny Wallace jumps out to a 2-car length lead as they roll into turn 1.
Wow, he didn't turn very well. Benson slows down to about 2 car lengths now.
Almost slapped the wall coming out of turn 2.
That's mostly built up from riding around under caution.
Terry Labonte down to the inside on Dennis Setzer. Remember, Setzer is laps down.
Yeah, but you know, I thought he would be somebody to deal with because he's got those 4 tires. But he really is struggling a little bit right there.
Mike Wallace will make his pit stop under green. You can take on as many tires as you want under green. Here's Glenn.
Well, he'll only take 2, I'm sure, because he got to get in and out.
Glenn?
Well, I talked to Barry Owen about that, Darrell, and he told me that they were going to take 4. And then he asked me, he said, what would you do? I said, man, that's why I quit driving. I don't have to think about things like that. But they are going to put on 4. He didn't feel like the 2 would do the job. The left sides were pretty well worn out. Pretty good pit stop so far. A little bit of trouble on the left rear right now, but they got that done. He's down and away. We'll see what he can do from here.
Going to lose a lap and a half, Glenn.
Yeah,
he'll
going to
lose
be 2
2
laps.
Yeah, here they come. That's the lead cars coming in turn 1. They'll put him down 2 laps.
I think I've got me 2 tires and got out there and saved that 1 lap. Glenn, tell him to call me next time, will you?
40 laps to go.
Well, there's good tires. You see Dennis Setzer. He just took on tires just a second ago. He's trying to make up a few laps there, but he's pretty far behind right now.
Well, really, 1 lap down. If he can get back by Kenny here, he'd be 1 lap down, and 1 lap down ain't too bad.
Now, he's 3 down now.
Oh,
he's back to 2 laps down.
Yeah.
Remember, because he got lapped on the racetrack. I came in and got tires under green, which cost him 2 more.
That's right, he got lapped on the track.
Look, he looks like though he has 2 motors in his car. That's what good traction does. When you get a good grip off the corner, that's how you look.
Yeah, see,
folks, now you'll see what new tires mean.
It's always interesting to me how one guy will come in and get tires and they'll make such a big deal out about him cutting through the traffic the way he is.
Yeah.
He's only 1 second faster. So the best thing to do is get out of his way.
Now, among the lead cars are cars on the lead lap, and now there are 11 of them. Randy Porter got tires because he started way deep in the field, so he has not been able to come up through and work on these leaders. Past winners of this race, how are they doing today? Kenny Wallace leading, Tommy Houston in 4th, Mark Martin, Morgan Shepherd in the garage.
I can't say enough about Tommy Houston today. I think it's the best run he's had in a long, long time.
4th place. Ooh, Jason Keller's car looked like it jumped out of gear. He backed up a whole pack there and then got going again. This is okay. He's the 7th place car. 11 cars on the lead lap. Kenny Wallace, Johnny Benson, Terry Labonte, Tommy Houston, Phil Parsons, Mike McLaughlin, Jason Keller, Bobby Dotter, Randy Porter is on the lead lap. And so is Stevie Reeves, who we've not seen much of today, and Elton Sawyer. L.W. Miller again. Down at the head end of pit road, entering turn 4. Now, last time he spun there, he could not get restarted. He needed a push.
Well, this will be a break for Setzer to make up one of those laps. That's why you keep running all day long. You can't give up. I've seen drivers make up 3, 4, 5 laps and win.
Caution is out.
Now, Benson and the 8 car are fighting over who's going to lead again.
All right, 35 laps to go here in Richmond. We'll be right back. Is 2 laps back from Brother Kenny on this restart. Mike Wallace with fresh tires is now 1 lap down.
You can hear those two now. Mike's calling, tell him to let me go, and Kenny saying, let him go, tell him to go on.
He's got a lot of problems right behind him there. Johnny Benson's closed in on Kenny Wallace now, trying to wrestle away the lead here. Not a lot of time left. Somebody's got to show a little muscle here pretty quick.
I believe Terry, don't forget about me, Labonte is still
30 laps to go. Here's Labonte dropping to the inside on Johnny Benson. Benson doesn't give him a lot of room, just enough.
Well, that wasn't enough. He kind of closed that hole back up again when he didn't make that move, getting in the corner.
Terry's one of those guys, you might do that to him one time, but I wouldn't consistently do that.
11 cars on the lead lap here with 30 to go.
Well, boy, these first 3, you're kind of overlooking Tommy Houston moving in there. He's sitting right there in 4th place, and he's actually closing in on the lead group.
Yeah, Tommy, I believe Tommy got tires later than the front 3 did. I think he came in a bit later on than the front 3 did.
Kind of single file through the first 6 cars on the racetrack. Then they'll double up just a bit.
Darryl, when you're running side by side like that, how much time do you actually give up? I know the cars running single file around here are faster. How much do you think it takes off? A couple of tenths?
Yeah, about 3 tenths, buddy, because you just can't let the car do what it wants. You got to overdrive the car to keep it down low, and the guy on the outside's got to be real tentative not to get up too high or not to get into you. It breaks your concentration, really.
Boy, big pack here. Jeff Fuller and that Sunoco number 47 got real loose coming out of turn number 4 as the tires start to go away. And David Green got back a spot from him. Now there's Bobby Dotter on the lead lap, 08. And 48, Randy Porter. Fighting along, trying to get up and challenge. Then a Setzer moves on by. Good game of Hold'em going on right here, as in hold on. Now here's Porter, who got those fresh tires, but it looks like he had to restart so far back in the pack. They did not do him as much good as he would have hoped.
No, that's the downside to coming in and getting them late like this. Track position gets to be a problem too.
David Green, 1 lap down, 12th place, leading that pack right there. And Curtis Markham. Markham's only a lap down, so it's a good fight among the rookies for rookie of the race here.
David has just done an incredible job of keeping that car in contention on ever how many cylinders he's got. I think that's amazing.
See Dennis Setzer there making it 3 wide coming out of the corner. That's fresher tires, not fresh tires, fresher.
But again, he was so far back that it's just really not going to do him any good. Plus the time he lost getting them.
Pretty impressive watching him come up, though. But boy, I tell you, unless you ever go through that one time, when you have on old tires, it's just like you're on ice almost. When you go in the corner, the car don't stay down where you want it. You step in the gas, it slides off the corner.
Second place battle. Johnny Benson, the Lipton T number 74. The Base Motorsports entry, Terry Labonte, the MW Windows number 14.
I believe it's going to take a little something special from Benson or Labonte to deal with Kenny. So Kenny's car seems to stay real consistent, and he actually puts a little distance between them after they run a while. I thought if Terry could get on by Benson, he might have something for Kenny, but it just doesn't seem like it's going to happen.
Maybe just not at the moment.
Well, we're down with only, what, 20 laps to go here. So.
Right. Let's go back to the 9th place battle. Bobby Dotter, the Hyde Tool 08, having a battle with Stevie Reeves. Let's give a call to the Clabber Girl car, the Ed Whitaker car. Stevie Reeves is in position to post his first ever Busch top 10 finish.
Boy, it looks good. That's a car made famous by our good friend Harry Gant.
Yeah, it'd be nice to see him get that team going. Stevie's a good driver, and that's a good team to know. And it'd just be nice to see him get something going there.
For 9th place, Reeves looking low. They may get it.
Ooh, Bill Parsons made a move on Houston there, getting in the corner, and McLaughlin gets by.
Yeah, he did. I think Tommy's kind of was wanting to hold him up a little bit, and it didn't quite work.
Meanwhile, Stevie Reeves did move into the 9th spot ahead of Bobby Don. Look at Tommy Houston. Show you that one again.
Well, Phil's had a couple. You can see the right side of that car. It's
yeah, but
he just straightened up a little that sheet metal that was hanging out there.
What that was is you see how much room between Tommy's right side and the outside wall. So Tommy was going down kind of the middle of the racetrack and making Phil go by the hard way.
18 to go. Let's go pit side for our Innovation in Motion Award, sponsored by Peerless Faucet. Get more out of your faucet than just water. Here's Larry.
For years and years, teams have been using just regular old yellow weather strip adhesive that you buy at your hardware store to put on the lug nuts to hold them on the wheel for pit stops. The downside of using this is in this cold of weather, the glue becomes dry and very brittle, which will help the lug nuts to pop off when you go to put them up on the wheel. A new innovation that's just come along is this two-sided weather strip adhesive that they call Lug Fast. They put it on the lug nut. It's ready to go right away, and we just stick it right on the wheel, and we don't have to worry about it popping off and being brittle. Just another innovation that race teams are coming up with.
Well, I'll tell you something, that 48 car, it's moved past Tommy Houston, and he's moved Jason Keller, and he's bearing down on Phil Parsons up there.
Dennis Subster's coming back up, trying to make up another lap. He's passing his cars left and right, but he's got the freshest tires to anybody out there.
He's about out of time. A report that Johnny Benson may have a tire going down.
Oh, he's run too good to have any problems. We don't want to see that happen.
The third place car.
Boys, I'll tell you something. I've been there, and I know what that is all about. It's getting late in the race, and the car don't feel like it, exactly like it did early on. He's saying, maybe I got a problem. And a lot of times you do, but most of the time it's all in your mind.
Second and third place there. Well back of leader Kenny Wallace going for 2 in a row here.
You know, Darrell, we talked about that earlier today. Benson runs really well for about 20 laps in any kind of pace, and that's pretty much what's going on right now.
Tracy Leslie comes to pit road. Kenny Wallace has been in 9 Busch races here. He's finished 8 of them in the top 10. And 3 of them in either first or second place.
Seems to like this place, doesn't it?
I guess.
Yeah, I remember he had some good runs here when he drove with, well, I'll tell you about that maybe later.
Now Benson's convinced himself there's nothing wrong with the car. I'll go back to driving it. Every once in a while, one end or the other will just turn loose and you go sliding across the racetrack and you wait a few times around the racetrack before you get back on it real hard.
Coming down to 11 laps to go. Dennis Setzer's got a lap back from Kenny Wallace.
The old 48 car is boogieing on up here. He's on the outside of Mike Lofton here and trying to move another spot up.
Meanwhile, the battle for second races on as they pass the Vermont Teddy Bear car of Kevin LePage.
Benson seems to get a good run on the outside of Terry off the corner, but you can see him fishtail just a little bit. That car is not exactly the way he wants it, just a little bit loose.
Well, Benson wants the spot and the money and the 5 points. Terry Labonte is not racing for this championship. Benson is. Another good battle. Mike McLaughlin in 34, back there with that red car. 48 is Randy Porter, 57 Jason Keller, 99 Phil Parsons,
and they are going at it
for 4th place.
They've been all over each other. Yep. Jason Keller got past, and he tried to pass 48 back, and boy, they're having a heck of a race.
You can about hear the ticking out of this group.
Randy Porter's going to make a move here pretty soon. He's tried him outside, inside. He just looked inside, said, I don't believe so yet, but they're both gaining on 99 car of Phil Parsons.
48 car is not as fast off the corner, but boy, he gets in the corner good.
Probably so. He got him at that last caution. 7 laps to go. The battle for fourth place is a good one. So is the race for second between Labonte and Johnny Benson.
Boy, he's got a...
He had to run at him that time, and the slow car got in his way.
He had a lap over car there that he had to make a room for.
Meanwhile, second and third are closing in on Kenny Wallace.
Yes, they are.
Benson's doing everything he can, but Terry Labonte makes very few errors on the racetrack. If you pass him, you'll have to pass him because you're faster, not because he makes a mistake.
All right, there's your separation from first back to second and third.
What's going to get interesting is Kenny's running up on a group of slower cars up here in front of him, and that's going to slow him down just enough to allow Terry and Benson to catch him, I think.
4 laps to go. Kenny Wallace trying to give Ford its third straight win in Busch Grand National competition. They're second and third place, gaining ground, but in only 3.5 laps. Something's going to have to happen in front of Kenny Wallace.
Well, I think what Kenny's doing now, he's just making sure he has room when he makes the pass. He don't want to give this thing away by making a foolish mistake.
Well, he's caught the traffic just really good. He's going by on the high side and hadn't had any problem. Terry and them are having trouble back here getting around this other car.
3 to go. Still, the battle for fourth is a great one.
Watch Johnny Benson. He's found this outside groove. He's trying to make the pass on Terry Labonte on the outside. They come up on a lap car. Little contact.
2 laps to go. In the lead, Kenny Wallace. Second and third, Terry Labonte and Johnny Benson. Fourth place could be anybody. It's still Parsons right now, but there's 4 guys right behind him who want it.
Johnny Benson showed Terry his move he was going to use on him on the last lap, and that slow car messed him up, so cost him run third.
Last lap. First 3 spots pretty well in hand.
You can see he's really moved up on the 8 car, but right now I think Kenny's saying, don't do anything stupid. You have enough real estate in between you.
Oh, yeah. For the checkered flag and for his second Richmond win in a row, Kenny Wallace, the Red Dog hunt. He'll go to victory lane. Terry Labonte is second. Johnny Benson is third. Here's the battle for fourth. Lap car holds up Parsons. Wham! McLaughlin will get fourth. Keller fifth. And Randy Porter stops short of the line. Stevie Reeves gets by him.
Bill Parsons
Everybody
is
gets
trying to
by
get to the line. The car stops inches away from the start-finishing line.
Oh, man.
Can you believe it?
That poor 48 car. He ran his part out.
Randy Porter gets about a 55-gallon drum of Goody's headache powders for that one.
Phil
What
Parsons
happened?
Goes across the start-finishing line there.
Phil was in fourth place, and the lap car in front of him just about stopped, and everybody got together. Mike McLaughlin got fourth.
Listen.
There's the lap car just in front, the 16.
Yep, and you know, they're racing for a position there. Phil is,
Phil
and the 34 car is, and
watch Randy Porter here. That's him in the 48 car. It turns back, hits Jason Keller. Now watch this slam in here.
Boy, that's a shame. They just ran out of room there. They were coming to the line, and the fast cars run up on the slow car.
So Randy Porter will be the first driver at 249 laps. And Kenny Wallace is in victory lane.
The Hardee's Frisco 250 on TNN has been brought to you by Avalon Formula 3 Motor Oil. Add more life to your car.
An unbelievable finish. Though Kenny Wallace had the victory well in hand, second and third were decided. Fourth place in a tumultuous finish and a big crash out of turn number 4. But that all happened way back in the rear view of the man standing in victory lane along with Glenn Jarrett.
A couple of years ago, there was a black car that won all the Busch races here, but it was number 60. Now there's another black car that's coming along doing the same thing. Great run, Kenny Wallace.
Well, I tell you, this is kind of a weird deal. First, I want to thank Toucan and Bill Ellis, the guys that put this thing together, and crew chief, Gil Martin. But this is a unique car. We got two of these. We got a Wayne Day front end. They're hidden out of Nashville, and I wish I had them on my Cup car. We missed the Cup race. It's pretty disappointing, but I'm happy to be in victory lane here. We just got awesome Grand National cars.
You got a real knack for Richmond Raceway too, don't you?
Well, we do, but, it's one of those deals where, you got to find what you can find. I mean, you can't sit there and say that, Harry Gant's the best at Darlington like he usually was, but I just got an Acura, plus we found a good setup.
Well, and the best news that we've heard so far is the car owner, Phil Mortachi, now has to shave his mustache. Back upstairs to you guys.
There's Gil Martin, crew chief. Great race for Kenny Wallace. We're going to be going to Nashville, Tennessee to bring you what was the Music City 320 and what is now the Opryland USA 320. Gaylord Entertainment has acquired not only the television rights for TNN, but the title sponsorship to that race. It'll be the Opryland USA 320, helping to commemorate Opryland's status as the official destination of NASCAR, and we'll bring it to you Sunday, March 19th at 2 p.m. Eastern live from Nashville Raceway in Tennessee. We'll talk to you from Nashville in a couple of weeks. For Buddy Baker and Darrell Waltrip, for Glenn, Randy, and Larry, I'm Mike Joyce. So long, everybody, from Richmond.